I'm going to hate tweet them.
So this is the original post that Emmanuel posted. Like Kelly said, it was a retweet of something that this dude Anish said.
So
And
Anish is an investor, and he's not affiliated with Lovable. So he's just a guy on the internet. I mean, he's a fancy guy. He's fancy. But this was not Lovable's tweet, which was unclear to me in the beginning.
okay, understood. So the traffic to Lovable's own site is apparently 3x the traffic to all apps built on the platform. Proud to say that traffic to Bubble apps is 10x the traffic to our own site. That's what defines a production-ready platform. Okay, so where do we start with this, Kelly? I have something to say. I don't know where to start.
Okay, so here's just sort of the history of the back and forth, right? This guy Anish basically is saying, like, Lovable is getting more traffic than the apps that are built on Lovable, and therefore it's not quite ready for mainstream yet. I think that's what the implication is there. Like, it's still growing as a platform, and the apps that are getting shipped off of Lovable just aren't getting that much traffic. So he tweets that, and then Emmanuel kind of jumps on that, right? Like, that's an interesting dichotomy between Bubble, which, like, people can deploy an app successfully on Bubble and get users and market those apps and stuff like that. But the backlash on Emmanuel was that this data is potentially not representative of what Lovable is capable of, and B, that, like, what he's saying is that Lovable doesn't scale, or, like, these 5 coding tools don't scale, and Bubble does, right?
Right.
So that was a part of the criticism. The rest of the criticism was around, like, how Bubble's just been around for a long time. So, like, how can you kind of take a dump on a 6-month-old product and be like,
which I think is a fair, like,
that's fair,
counterpoint. That is a fair counterpoint.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so yes, the monthly page views as a metric of a production-ready app, I guess you can make the argument that, like, the more page views an application has, the more it's. I don't even know if production-ready is, like, the right, like, leap of logic for that, but it definitely means that people are using it. More people are using it, right? Whereas, like, Lovable is not showing that level of traffic, which is, I think, is the basis for Emmanuel's argument, right?
Yeah.
Which, like, I think there's so much context here, like history, that Bubble was the one that had this criticism for so long. You can't scale on Bubble. Like, yeah. I think that's where we start, because, like, that's what everyone said about Bubble up until, like, a year ago. You know, like, I still, like, and I'll still get that question.
They still say it.
Like,
yeah.
They still say it, right? So we're still dealing with that. And, like, it's a even after 10 years. So, like, it's funny that, like, the new people in this space, the new, like, the ones that are, I wouldn't even say replacing no code, but, like, the sexy new kids on the block are getting the same criticism that Bubble got when it first started out, up until, like, very recently, where it's like, for some reason, it's I feel like in people's minds, it's starting to become a viable software option, or a way to build software that isn't just Bubble? Like new. Yeah, Bubble. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Where it's not just like, okay, it's been around for a while. There is some, like, there are apps in the world that are large and they're built on Bubble. And, like, it's shedding that, like, this is just for MVPs thing that everyone's been saying for basically however long Bubble has been around.
Yeah.
So what's my point? I feel like I was leading to a point, but I got lost in my own thought. But I guess the point is, like, it's just interesting to see this criticism being leveled at a newer technology. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that kind of struck me about this was, like, it doesn't seem to be Emmanuel's style to sort of, like, shitpost. I don't know if I'd call this a shitpost, but it's like borderline shitpost, right? And he doesn't typically do that. And so it was a little surprising, I think, to see him even mention another platform. And I think that that's a little bit like knowing that Bubbles had this kind of same criticism was a little bit, he kind of opened himself up to this type of criticism, you know?
Right.
And like, I think there's a lot of people who right now in the life of Bubble, there's always kind of been sort of, I guess, always like sort of traditional coding people who kind of hate on Bubble because it's not they don't see it as a serious platform or whatever, right? So you got that contingent. Then you have like ex users, and recently there's more of them. So you kind of are like, you got these two people who are two groups of people who are pretty vocal. And what I noticed about this thread, maybe it's just not showing up, but like there were very few defenders of Bubble or hid this tweet in the thread.
So
like,
let's look at some, to that point, let's look at some of the comments, some of the reactions here, right? I think this is a good one from Matt. I think there's a bit disingenuous. First, Lovable is like 6-month-old versus Bubble, which has been around for nearly a decade.
And Matt's an agency owner. Like Matt is a bubbler, like a serious bubbler. He's been around for a long time.
Maybe listen to your ex-customer. That's kind of shit talking. Noise. Does this includes custom domains? And then the Lovable founder chimed in here.
Yeah. So his point is basically, look, you can we don't track every Bubble or Lovable app. Like once they leave the Bubble, Lovable ecosystem, like you can export the code and put it anywhere. So then they don't track it after that, right?
Yeah.
So
how do you know what happened after that?
Right. And if there's a custom domain, then like I think that won't show up in that data. And so it just is not complete data. And I don't know if Emmanuel, he probably knew that when he tweeted this. But it could also be that it wasn't Emmanuel who tweeted it. But regardless, it came from Bubble, right? So I feel like, yeah, when I saw that, the founder tweeted that, I was like, oof.
Yeah.
He didn't respond though, did he? To that?
No, there